Hi everybody, I'm Chee from the McAuliffe-Shepard Discovery Center, and today we are going to be making some rockets. Now we're doing this because the 50th anniversary of Apollo 14's mission to the moon is coming right up. So to celebrate, we'll be shooting stuff up into space. Now, what I want to tell you is that on Saturday, February 6th, we will be having a community rocket launch. Now this will be totally online, so anyone can go no matter where you are. And it will be a Zoom meeting where we can all see each other and you can show off your rocket and we can count down and launch them all off at the same time. It will be super fun, so I hope you all can make it. Now, to get ready for this, maybe you have rockets laying around your house just waiting to be launched. I don't. So I had to find some ways that I could make rockets. So we're going to use materials that you have around your home, and we are going to make two different rockets, both pretty simple to make. Now, rocket number one. You ready? This one is my favorite because you can play with it inside the house. Now what you'll need is a straw and a piece of paper. I'm going to use a Post-it note, but you can use any paper you can find. Now this is called a straw rocket because it will be powered by our straw. So here's how we make it. We take our Post-it or our piece of paper. I'm going to use my straw to roll it up. I'm going to start on the non-sticky side with the sticky side being on the opposite end. So I want to avoid the stick for right now. I'm going to roll it up just like this so that I get a rolled up tube that's the same width, the same thickness as my straw. See how they're kind of similar? And it fits right on there. So when I'm ready to launch it, I'll be able to shoot the rocket right off the end of the straw. Now, there's a problem with this rocket right now. Can you figure it out? Yeah, there's no exit point. So right now, I need to find a way to seal off this straw, this piece of paper, to let the pressure build up from my straw. Because if we can get pressure to build up behind it, then eventually the pressure will become too much and the piece of paper will fly right off the straw. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to tape up this one end. So use some tape. I'm going to tape it just like this. Fold it right over, and you can either keep taping the excess or you can kind of just rip it off like me. So there we go. Now, I can call this a rocket because this is something that can fly through the air. So I could call this a rocket and be done right here. Let's test it out. You ready? All right, I'm going to go straight up in the air so I can catch it. Whoa! That went so high it hit my ceiling. So this is a pretty good rocket. This would count. If I wanted to bring this to the rocket launch, I totally could. But some of you out there might want to make it a little fancier. So I'm going to teach you how to make it fancier. Now, I could take my scissors and carefully snip the tippy top of this rocket so that instead of being like one straight edge, now I have a triangle shape at the top. And that will maybe help it fly a little faster. It will reduce drag, make it a little more aerodynamic. So I'm going to tape shut both those opening slots because I don't want any air to escape. When people tell me that they're having trouble with their straw rockets, the #1 cause of a straw rocket not working is because there's a hole someplace that needs to be taped up. So tape up the holes, make sure the only exit for the air is back out the other end. So there we go. That seems nice and taped up. Let's see if it works. It's good to test it throughout the whole process. I'm gonna go straight up again. Whoa, awesome. Let me gather it. Sometimes you have to move a little bit when you're doing straw rockets. Now, I want to make this even fancier. This is still a rocket, but I think it could use a little decoration. So I'm going to take another Post-it note. I'm going to do a different color, because why not? And I'm going to make a little funnel shape. So basically curling the paper. So it's a nice kind of funnel shape, like I was going to pour something into it and it could come out the other end. And then I'm going to take my tape and tape up my funnel shape so that it doesn't undo itself while I am preparing it to go on the rocket. So then I can snip the bottom part. Now I just took the tippy top of the funnel. This part's trash. And now I've got a nice little nose cone that I can put on the nose of my rocket to make it look more realistic. Plus, maybe it'll help it get through the air a little better, be a little more aerodynamic. So let me attach this with a little extra tape. I'm going to do a looped tape, just like that. And I'm going to put my looped tape on the outside of that triangle piece that I cut earlier. And then just stick it right in the cone and make sure it's nice and stuck. All right, so now we've got a rocket base, a cone head on the top of our rocket base. Let's see if it works. Ready? Hey, it worked. It flew right up in the air, came right down. It's a little heavier, so it might be going a little less high, but you can play with that, figure out the best rocket for you. Now, one last step to make this even fancier, because I know there's some people out there who are high achievers. I'm going to use that scrap paper that I didn't need anymore, the trash, and I'm going to just cut off 2 little triangles. And by cutting off the triangles, I'm actually going to make some wings. So I feel like rockets look cooler with wings personally, but you should make the rocket the way you want to make it. So I've got 1 little triangle here. I will attach the tape to it, and then I'll put it right on the side of my rocket. Gorgeous. And then I've got my other little piece of triangle paper, and I'm going to attach it to the opposite side. So some people would, I don't know if you'd call these tails or wings because they're kind of in between, but if you wanted to make tails and wings, you definitely could have 2 sets, one up here and one down here. That would be very cool. All right, so we've got this rocket. Look how awesome that is. You see that? Fabulous. Fabulous. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I love it. Now you can have fun with these for hours. I have been playing with these for quite a long time. They're super fun. You can make adjustments to them. You could add weights. You could make them with lighter paper. You could use more tape. You could play around to figure out how to make the very best rocket. Now the only thing you want to be careful of is do not shoot them at people, because some of them are pretty sharp and it would really hurt if you got it in your eye, right? So be careful with these. Make sure you're shooting them in a safe airspace. Awesome. So that's the first type of rocket. That was pretty simple, right? You guys could definitely make that. Now, I'm going to show you another simple rocket, but this one has a little more to it. This will be a couple more steps. So I'm going to put away the straw rocket. And now, the big kahuna, we are going to make a vinegar and baking soda rocket. Yeah, it's just as cool as it sounds. So for this, you're going to need some materials. You're going to want to get an empty bottle. I have just a soda bottle here. I had to drink a whole bottle of soda for you guys to do this video. Yeah, I mean, it was such a sacrifice. You're welcome. So I've got a bottle there. Now you can use a big one, small one. This one's the one I had laying around. You're also going to want 3 sticks. Now these are going to act as supports for your rocket so that it can shoot off into the sky. I'm using pens, but you might want to use chopsticks or sticks from outside or anything that can make it stand up tall. Pencils, perhaps. So those are some of my materials. I'm also going to need a cork. Now, this one is just a cork that you'd find in the top of a bottle. So you can ask your grown-ups to help you hunt down one of these. If you don't have one of these, you could probably make something up that would work similarly. So I'm using a cork. Then you're going to need some tape. Luckily, we have some left over from our straw rockets. So we're going to use some tape. And we're also going to need our chemicals, baking soda and vinegar. Now, when baking soda and vinegar mix together, they create a chemical reaction. And this chemical reaction creates a gas called carbon dioxide. Now, carbon dioxide is something we have around us all the time. It's actually what our bodies produce and we exhale. So every time you breathe out, that's carbon dioxide. So we're gonna make some in a bottle today. And hopefully we can build up enough pressure in this bottle that the carbon dioxide has to escape, and hopefully it'll come right out the bottom and shoot the rocket up into the sky. That's the goal. Let's see if we can make it happen. Here's what we'll need to do. We need to make our stand, our support sticks. So this is how I do it. If you want to do it a different way, that's totally fine. But basically, I just need to tape these to the side so I can flip this over and have the top of the bottle facing the ground. So here's a little trick I learned because I was having trouble getting them all to stay in place. I'm going to wrap tape around the back of this pen, but I'm going to do it with the sticky side out so I can stick it right on there. So there's one. I've got one to stick. Maybe I'll do it sideways like this. Let's try this one. So the reason I came up with this method is because I just kept dropping them over and over again. It was super difficult. So sometimes it's about working smart, not hard. Am I right? You gotta figure out the way that works, even if it's not the prettiest, even if it's not the most scientifically fancy. If it works, it works. If it looks silly, but it works, it's not silly. All right, so let's see. We'll get these two to stick. Very nice. That one's sticking okay. Get that one and that one. And once you have them to stick at least a little bit, then you can come in with the rest of your tape and tape them all in place. So can you see I'm like suspending it? Very nice. And you can have someone help you with this. Sometimes it's tricky to get these taped on just by yourself because, you know, I'm not an octopus. I only have so many hands. So you can ask a grown-up to help you out. You can ask your friend. You can ask your sibling. Maybe you'll even let them try the rocket if they help you. You can bribe them a little bit. You don't have to, but just an idea. All right. Now, when NASA would shoot the Apollo missions into space, they had a lot of people working on those together. So space is not explored by just one person. Lots of people help out when it comes to getting shuttles ready for launch. All right, so as you can see, I'm testing it out. It's standing up pretty nicely. It's definitely sturdy. It's not perfect, it's a little off balance, but the point is that the top of the water bottle is facing the ground so it can shoot upward into the sky. Awesome. One last thing before I put the tape away. I want to make sure that the sticks that I'm using, the pens, aren't going to slide out. So I'm actually going to put another piece of tape just to extra secure them right at the tippy top so they can't slide up. Because a lot of power was going to be produced by this chemical reaction, and we don't want the stick to get in the way of that blast off. So just double checking that those sticks cannot wiggle free when things get high pressure. Fabulous. Okay, now I am excited because now we're going to add our chemicals. Now, this is vinegar, so it's a chemical that people use all the time. You put it in food. Some people drink it if they have a stomach ache. So it's not like a lethal, dangerous chemical, but you should still be careful. If it gets in your eye, it's going to sting. So be careful. I just poured some into a measuring cup, and I'm going to carefully pour it into the mouth of my rocket. Now, I would say try not to spill it, but I would be a hypocrite because I had just spilled a lot of it. So instead, I'm going to say try to do this someplace where it's easy to clean up. That's the rule about science. It's okay to make a mess as long as you clean it up afterward. All right, in there. Oh, fabulous. Okay, now I filled up my rocket this much, which is probably about 1.5 cups of vinegar. Now, I don't know if that's the best amount of vinegar. This is me trying something out, and maybe it works perfectly, and maybe it really fails. So you play with different measurements, play with different amounts of vinegar, and see which one creates the best propulsion, the best rocket launch. Now, you need another ingredient to this recipe here. It is toilet paper. Yes. I'm going to guess you have some in your home, probably, yeah. Very important to use clean toilet paper. Do not use used toilet paper, or else you'll get a pretty gross rocket. So I am going to take one piece, just one little square of toilet paper, and I'm going to put it on a dry surface, make a little room for it here. And now I'm going to add baking soda, okay? So by adding this baking soda to the toilet paper, I'm going to create a little baking soda package, and we're going to deliver it into the vinegar mixture when we are ready to launch it. So I'm putting my baking soda right in the middle. There we go, right in the middle of this toilet paper. It's a little hard to see because it's white and white, but I've got like a tiny little pile of baking soda right there. And then I'm gonna fold it up. I don't know if anyone's ever folded dumplings before, but just fold up all the corners so the corners are touching. And then I'm just gonna twist it a little bit so that it doesn't come undone, doesn't get powder everywhere. All right, so this is my baking soda package. This is gonna act like my fuel source for my rocket. When I'm ready, but not until I'm ready, I will drop this in and cover it with a seal. But I do not want to do that until I am outside and ready to run, because the worst thing you could do is prepare the rocket, make it launch, and still be like sitting over it with your eyes right on it. Ouch, right? That's gonna shoot right up on you. So you gotta use extra careful safety precautions. All right, now, one last step here. I need to take a little bit of the extra toilet paper because my cork that I have to plug this bottle up is a little too small. So I put it in, but it kind of wants to fall all the way in, and that would be a problem. I'll be fishing that cork out forever. So instead, I'm gonna use my toilet paper to be a little extra seal on the cork, so it's a little extra snug. I probably don't even need that much, but I'm going to use this so that it's not so tricky and I don't lose my plug, because the best part of a rocket for me is launching it not once, but multiple times. You want to be able to launch this over and over and over again. So I'm going to plug it up. There it goes. That fits really nicely. You don't want it to fall out because then, you know, all the liquid's going to spill out and it won't go as far. So I've got my fuel, I've got my rocket, I've got my plug. I think I'm ready to go. Before I take it outside, let me tell you why we chose toilet paper. Toilet paper is designed to dissolve in liquid so that when you throw it in the toilet, it breaks apart and it doesn't clog up your plumbing. So when we do put this package in the rocket, it's going to dissolve. The toilet paper is going to break apart, and that will release the baking soda into the vinegar so that the CO2 can start forming and then eventually have to bust its way out of the rocket and shoot it into the air. It's going to be so fun. All right, I'm going to take you guys outside now for the big show. Okay, so I have my rocket full of vinegar all ready to go. I've got my baking soda package, and I've got a cork so I can plug it up to keep that pressure trapped inside. So I'm going to have to do this part pretty quickly. So here we go. You ready? I like to tilt the bottle at the side a little bit so I can slip the package in without setting off the chemical reaction. So by doing it to the side a little bit, I give a little more time. I'm gonna plug it up, flip it over. Watch out! Awesome. Thanks for making rockets with me today. You can go on our website, starhop.com, and go to the Contact Us page if you have any questions or need any advice on how to make your rockets. You can also reach out to us on social media, our Facebook or our Instagram or our Twitter. And I hope to see all of you on February 6th, that's a Saturday, and we will be shooting off our rockets to honor Apollo 14's mission to the moon and the 50th anniversary. So I hope you have a great day, enjoy your rockets, and I'll see you soon.